Welcome back to From the Flight Line on Wayne TV. I'm Joel Gilley, and I'm joined by another very special airman. Go ahead and tell me your name.
Mason Nelson.
Mason, it's so nice to meet you. What do you do at Seymour Johnson?
I'm actually in Security Forces, the 4th Security Forces Squadron, and I work as the Vehicle Non-Commissioned Officer.
Okay, so it's a really cool title. Break that down a little bit for someone who has absolutely no clue what that is. Tell us what you do.
So my day-to-day is I maintain our fleet of vehicles to make sure that they work properly, and I'm kind of like a liaison from our squadron with the Vehicle Maintenance Squadron. So if I do have any issues with our vehicles, I will just take them there and they'll fix them for us.
I got you. So tell us what the mission is for Security Forces. I think some people probably know, but tell us what your core mission is.
Okay, so our core mission is to protect the personnel and resources on Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. To put it in simpler terms, we're basically like the law enforcement for the Air Force. Okay.
And so that includes the, all the gates, the checking in, but then also on base, you're the police department essentially, right?
Essentially, yes. So we patrol and do all that kind of stuff as well.
Which is so crazy because, I mean, Seymour Johnson literally is its own little city, you know, within Goldsboro, and so you have to have your own, I mean, there's fire, there's police and everything, and that's what y'all do is the police side of things.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about what a normal day in your life is. I know it's working with vehicles, it's probably completely different every day, but what's a normal day like?
Okay, so a normal day before I got this job, so it's actually a temporary job. It's only like for 2 years. Before that, I worked at the Base Defense Operations Center, which is where we answer like 911 phone calls and things like that. So I would just dispatch patrols to certain areas, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's, as a Security Forces member, we don't really have a normal day-to-day. It's different every day. So, but it's a very fun job, very exciting.
And honestly, the dispatch job, what was that? The name one more time?
Base Defense Operations Center.
Such a cool name. It's way cooler than like 911 Center.
Right.
You know. How long have you been in the Air Force?
I've been in the Air Force for almost 6 years.
Okay. Is Seymour Johnson? I assume it's not your first base.
Actually, it is.
It is.
I've been here for 6. My first base was Lackland Air Force Base. That's where we went for our basic training, and then that's also where the Security Forces Academy is. So I was there for an additional 3 months. So I was there for almost 6 months, and then I got my orders to Seymour Johnson. I've been here ever since.
So I want to back up just a little bit. Where are you from originally?
I'm also from North Carolina.
Okay, what part?
The Outer Banks.
Okay, so you're not too far from home.
No, not at all.
What brought you to the Air Force?
So I was actually working 2 jobs, going to college full-time, and it was just getting exhausting. So I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why not let the government pay for my college and serve my country as well? So it was very enticing. So I went to the recruiter and started that whole process.
And so you've taken advantage of those resources for schooling and stuff?
Yes.
Good. If you were sitting there and you had a chance to talk to someone in high school, they don't know what they're doing with their life. What do you, kind of a SparkNotes version, what has been the most rewarding part about being in the Air Force for you?
The most rewarding part for me is just the networking with people. I've met so many people from different countries, different parts of the United States, and just that camaraderie and friendship that I've built with all those people has been the most rewarding part as far as the military goes, for me anyway. I know that I'll be friends with those people for the rest of my life, so that's been the most rewarding part.
Awesome. So you get done, you get into the Air Force, you go to your basic training, your Security Forces training. Talk about what's involved in the Security Forces training side of things.
Okay, so we have different like parts of our training. So we go through obviously all the weapons training, and then we go into the law enforcement aspect of how to respond to incidences, that type of the procedures that follow that, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because that's it's almost like having to do 2 jobs at that. You have to know the law enforcement side, but then you have to know the basic side of things as well. So
exactly, and every base is a little bit different with how they operate. So.
Yeah. So how was that transition? I know it's not a big transition, but from the Outer Banks to Goldsboro.
It was, it's the same state, but it's so different. I grew up, I was a coastie. I was always by the beach and stuff like that. So coming more inland was a little bit different, but at the same time, I'm only 2 hours from home, so I can go home whenever I want. But there is still a lot to do in Goldsboro, and I always tell new people that come to this base, like, don't just stay in this area. There's a lot to do in the whole state, and we're close to Raleigh and Wilmington, so there's a lot of things to do for people that come here.
Absolutely. What do you see for yourself in the future? You're going to stay in a while? You getting out? What's the plan?
I plan on staying in, so I definitely want to do my 20, and at that point, I'll see where I am and maybe continue and go further.
That's great. When you're at a normal day at work, you manage the fleet for security forces. Talk a little bit about kind of the wide range of vehicles that security forces operates. I assume it's more than just police cars.
Right. So we have our obvious like sedan police cars. We also have SUVs. We have K9 vehicles, and then we have our up armored vehicles. So I just manage all of those vehicles to make sure that they're operating if we need to use them at any point.
So far in your 6 years, have you deployed? Have you gone anywhere interesting?
Yes, I've deployed twice in the Middle East area. So both of those were awesome missions, and I got to, like I said, meet amazing people and great memories I'll never forget. Yeah.
No temporary duties anywhere else?
I have.
Okay, where at? Anywhere fun?
Key West.
Oh, that one's not
so that
bad.
one was pretty fun. I was there for 2 weeks, and and what's funny is I only had to work 3 days while I was there. So
that's pretty
paid
good.
Vacation.
Well, I always like to ask that question because some people go to all these different countries, and I like to find out what country was their favorite. But I always hear a kind of a normal thing is that Seymour Johnson is kind of everyone's favorite base. They said it's a real tight-knit group of people.
Is.
Is that kind of what you've seen as well?
I believe that as well. It's a very special base, and we do get to travel a lot from this base. We're going to different countries and different places within the U.S., so it's a very good base to be at.
And another thing that's interesting that I think some people may not realize is while you guys are security forces and you are responsible for securing the base and acting as the police, security forces still deploys. Because security forces still has to provide security in other missions overseas and stuff too as well, right?
Exactly.
Which is something that I think people don't realize. They think it's just the police department on base.
Oh, yeah.
It's way more than that, really.
Right, it is.
When you're out and about in Goldsboro, what's your favorite restaurant?
That's a hard one.
It's always the hardest question.
I know, there's so many good places here. So actually, like one of my favorite places to go for lunch is this little mom and pop place that's called the Great Harvest Company.
Oh yeah.
You've heard of that?
Oh yeah.
So it's
amazing
just really
sandwiches.
Very good sandwiches, very fresh, and they make their bread from scratch every day, so that's nice.
And the cookies are really good too.
Yes.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite music?
So I kind of have a wide range. I like country, alternative, pop, hip hop.
Okay, you're all over.
All over.
That's fine.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. A lot of times people say I listen to everything, and then I'm like, oh, do you like country music? And they're like, nah. I'm like, you don't like everything.
No, that's right.
That's good. You like country. When you're not working, what do you like to do in your spare time?
So I'm very active as far as outdoors. I love to go hiking. The Cliffs of the Noose here is really great. Me and my friends would go there very often to run or just walk with the dogs, that kind of thing. And then I like to travel. I like to go to the city, the mountains. Like I said, everything's so close. We're kind of central North Carolina,
which is what's great,
right? So we can pretty much go anywhere. So
favorite travel spot you've been recently?
So I even though I'm from North Carolina, I actually just went to Asheville, North Carolina, not too long ago, and it was awesome. We went to the Biltmore.
Oh yeah,
beautiful, beautiful place. So
I've lived in North Carolina my whole life, 20-some years, and I've never been to the Biltmore, which I feel like is a sin. I've never been to the Biltmore, and I've never been to the Outer Banks.
Well, I'm
really missing out. I've been just about everywhere else, but so I got to check out the Biltmore.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Any future good travel plans coming up?
Currently, no. Just kind of going day by day. We'll see what happens.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Was there anything that I left out you'd like to talk about?
No, I think
we got your backstory, what you do, and all that. I think we're probably pretty set, right?
Yep, I think
we know a lot about Mason now.
You do. Yep.
Mason, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you coming in today.
I appreciate that.